I want to say it's been a difficult few days as we see the numbers continuing to climb. And it is incumbent upon us today to realize that are we are tasked with leadership responsibilities in our community to make sure that we do the right thing. We know that every week, more and more are coming over to the side of understanding how important wearing a mask is. The numbers do not lie. And just this weekend, we had a critical situation, a church member that had to be taken to Jackson because, and this was a heart attack, because there was no room for them here locally at Merit Health. The ICU is full. And we can go about our merry way every week thinking everything's fine, but don't be the person then that wakes up one morning and you've lost a loved one because the hospital was full and they couldn't get treatment. This is what happens when we put such stress on our healthcare system. And I said this Thursday night, and I say it again, wearing a mask is a simple ask. Wearing a mask is a simple ask. If it can save a life, well, let's do it. It's not the normal. I still don't say new normal, but it's the situation now. Look forward to looking at the numbers this morning and hearing from the experts and understanding the direction that we need to take. I applaud our county. I applaud Mr. Bradford and our EOC and the decision made by our Board of Supervisors to extend the mask ordinance for the county. I do applaud our Board of Aldermen for acting on this last week in their board meeting and extending the mask ordinance until August the 11th when our board will meet again. That's next Tuesday. I want to say, yes, we still have those in the community wanting us to be open without a mask ordinance. But may I remind you that the list of counties is growing that are being placed on the governor's target list. And may I remind you that there are now experts saying that Mississippi is headed toward being the state in the country with the highest number per capita of active COVID cases. May I remind you that we are a community that already struggles with obesity, hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, and all of the factors that contribute to one's being susceptible to this disease. And so we have to be proactive. And we want our economy to remain open. And we have seen evidence around the country and in our state where those who opened so fast without following the mandates then found themselves closed again. Just this morning, we got encouraging news of new businesses opening in Natchez. We got good news also just last week that our sales tax collections were up last month, only down by about $10,000. That's good news. But in order to keep that good news coming, we have to be very careful in how we go about conducting business in our open economy. We want businesses to remain open. So what that means is we have to be responsible. We have to understand it comes back to personal responsibility. As a business owner, doing the right thing. As a customer, doing the right thing. And being aware that in America, we have a tradition. where my freedom ends, yours begins, and vice versa. I don't have the freedom to endanger you, nor do you have the freedom to endanger me. Never in the history of our country have we had the freedom to disregard the safety and well-being of one another. And that is the American tradition. And during this pandemic, we need to be ever mindful of our rights as Americans, yes, but also mindful that we do live, I believe, under that rule where we do unto others as we would have them do unto us. You might be in line at a convenience store, not properly wearing your mask, not knowing that you actually may be a carrier of this disease. And unknowingly, you may pass this disease on to the next person in line with you who has an elderly parent at home. And a week or two later, the unthinkable happens. I don't want that on my conscience. And I personally know a very dear, trusted, reliable friend in the Jackson area, a lobbyist, a longtime Republican. You know, we have a lot of Republicans fighting this and saying it's just a hoax. But I want to tell you, this good, long-term Republican friend contracted the virus. His very respected parents contracted the virus, and 2 weeks ago, he buried them both. They died one day apart. This virus does not know Republican, Democrat. This virus does not know black or white. This virus does kill. And I know people say, oh, but look at the numbers compared to other situations. Well, I've been looking at the numbers and I've been listening to experts who are far smarter than me. And I am not going to take the risk as mayor of this city in doing things that could recklessly endanger our people. Because what I'm learning is that the only reason our numbers aren't huge in proportion to our population is because we quarantined for a month. And because we've been wearing masks, and because we have been social distancing, and because we have been washing our hands. Let's look at what those numbers would be if we hadn't been following these protocols. And I guarantee you it would blow all other numbers out of the water, and it would be far worse. So keep all that in mind, but I'm going to come back to something I said earlier. Let's pray that none of us has a loved one tonight that needs to go to the ICU at Merit Health, because I have news for you. The ICU is full.